Good morning. Very first hunt on cornfield in the Kaiser. Really simple layout, heavy against the edge, light lines coming out. Just give them lots of options. We're taking the rake around and opening some of this corn up. You know, anytime that you can uncover some of this stuff is just make it look like they've been scratching in here. So we're looking good. Everybody loaded up? Shoot him! Freaking cool. That was epic. Shoot him! Nice shot, Brady.
Ground pound. The old Arkansas, as they say.
Nice work, boys.
The old Kaiser Ranch had a lot of new visitors last night. The main Keystone Ranch that we're managing is the Kaiser Ranch. It is the most diverse 8,000 acre piece of property potentially that I've ever seen, from mountains, dry land to really nice, lush river bottoms, high producing, high yield agriculture fields, all in that same contiguous piece of property. We got brought into the Kaiser Ranch a couple of years ago from Mr. Bob Kaiser, who is the owner. Him and his son Bobby live in Michigan and purchased the ranch with a couple of main goals in mind. One of them is to, enjoy the hunting and have a great time there. But also one of their main goals was to improve the ranch and make it better than it was before for all the wildlife, the birds, the elk, the deer, the fish. It's a very diverse landscape and there's a lot of wildlife there.
And the elk go back and forth, we deal with the deer, but our main priority on the Kaiser Ranch is the ducks and now the geese. They had never hunted geese before, and so we were able to show them what goose hunting is like in Montana.
See this group coming?
Yep, big group, straight back.
Ready, boys.
Shoot him.
Yeah! The Kaiser boys!
Boys!
Hell yeah! This year, the first year on the ranch, we decided we weren't going to use any permanent blinds. So one thing that we did is on all the wheat and the barley fields where you have a pivot that irrigates it, all of those have an end gun sprinkler that is going to gain you an additional, I'd say 20 to 25 yards of additional crop. What we did is we had the farmer plant corn where the end gun is going to hit and then not harvest it. What that did is that left us standing corn so that when we wanted to hunt the barley or the spring wheat, we always had a spot where we could hide those big A-frame blinds. The single biggest project that happened on the Kaiser Ranch year one was the construction of an entirely new spring creek. There was a permit that was issued to the ranch years ago that had an expiration date that was coming up that the previous owners had. And the new owner, Mr. Kaiser, decided it was time to put in this spring creek. At the end of the summer, there was a lot of dirt getting moved around. And then there was also some additional dikes and impoundments and levees built that created some new wetlands. The benefit for us is that those type of creeks with long sweeping bends in them and big deep holes, and it's water that stays open all year, it's the perfect duck habitat.
In the springtime, when everything's still wet, burning is a really, really good way to get a reset on the landscape. So we're burning out non-native grasses and encouraging the native grasses to regrow. On the Kaiser Ranch, we had a big burn. I mean, we had a tornado that shot up. I mean, we were getting calls from Bozeman being like, what do you guys got going on out there? It was wild.
We sent her.
It was wild.
Managing for wildlife is a really interesting topic because it's a whole bunch of little tiny things that you do that over time equals something big.
We're in kind of a spring creek area right now. The water has been let out of this creek and diverted into another creek so that we can get to this mud. We're here planting some Japanese millet. We're creating some pockets and areas to have the millet feed in here for the ducks this coming fall.
We got the iPad on X and we walked the sections to map out the area that we're gonna be planting the millet in. Flag it off, run the calculations so we know exactly how many pounds to put in the solos so that we can come out here, throw that millet out, and it's exactly what we want. Right now we're looking at doing 30 pounds per acre, and we're gonna test it out in this creek this year. Confident the ducks are gonna be in here this fall.
What the Japanese millet has that other grasses don't is an incredible amount of food. And that's for the ducks, for the pheasants, for the deer, for the elk, they all love it.
Each one of those plants, when they grow and they head out, that head gets big and it'll kind of tip over because of the weight. And there's thousands of seeds that are falling down into the water or onto the ground that all the birds, and again, all the wildlife are eating. But specifically in the water, when a Japanese millet is flooded, when the ducks are in there moving around on the water and doing their thing, they're bumping plants or hitting plants. It's just constantly kind of raining down all these little seeds that will float for a bit. And so they're just all over the water. So, you know, to your point about Japanese millet, you know, people say it can kind of grow anywhere. It also can be broadcast, meaning you can literally just throw the seed out and it will germinate and grow. So it doesn't require a bunch of farming equipment or drillers or, you know, big tractors to do. You literally can go walk around with a spreader and just broadcast the seed, and it generally is a pretty resilient plant. I think one of the reasons why this is so important for the bigger picture, it's not just our hunting on this exact property. All of the management, all of the conservation, all of the habitat work that we're doing there benefits the entire valley.
They're gonna get the old booby trap,
We're gonna have to set up a booby trap.
guaranteed.
Oh man,
Shoot them
it's
in the
just
back.
so risky.
Shoot them in the back. I know it is risky.
The booby trap is something that we took away from Scott Trinan in Minnesota. Any bird is going to land into the wind. So in a perfect world, you have the wind at your back, because then the birds are going to come out in front of you and come into the decoy spread. But in this scenario for the booby trap, the wind was exactly opposite.
But yesterday there was a whole bunch of geese in here, probably 1,000 ducks, and we've been seeing some snow geese push through, which for us is pretty unique.
The booby trap in general is being in a spot that's actually on the approach, which is really unique. That's not done very often. So what we did is we put out 2 goalposts, one line here and one line here. What this is allowing them to do is to come in from the front if they want to, but because the wind's in our face, they really want to come in from behind. And when they would come up over the top, I mean, even Max could hit them with his 20 gauge.
So on this hunt, we had Max Barta joining us from MeatEater. Been friends with Max for a handful of years and really enjoy hunting together. Very similar styles of hunting. So it's always fun having Max on the hunt.
And Ruby.
And his dog Ruby, yep, can't forget about Ruby. Excellent, excellent retriever. we also had my son, Trey Davis, and then his best friend in the world, Colter Blank.
Dead.
Shoot him. Shoot him.
Shoot him!
Nice shot. The old booby trap.
Ho, ho, ho. Look at it, raining feathers.
Lad!
Woo. Hell yeah.
Ready, get ready, get ready. Shoot him, shoot him, shoot him.
Oh. Shoot him. He's a little far.
Well, they're gonna get out if you don't shoot.
Missed him.
What happened there?
Missed him.
Yo, twice.
Yeah.
Third time was probably the shot, but you just
Well, I
elected
shot
not
at
to
him
take it.
twice and then figured it was a little far.
I mean, when in doubt, empty out.
Trey started hunting with me when he was about 3 years old. Colter did not come from a waterfowl hunting family, so it was really fun to introduce him to the sport of waterfowl hunting, and he's eaten up by it just as bad as we are, and it's always fun having those two boys on the hunt.
Shoot him! Shooting geese and eating airheads with tea.
Oh yeah.
It's also been really fun for me because when you choose who you hunt with and you have the right people and the right friends and partners around you, they can be so influential on your child as they're growing up. And so, you know, I've been grateful for, you know, men like Matt and all the other people we've been able to hunt with, because while I was able to introduce Trey to the world of hunting, every one of these guys, and Matt a lot because I spent a lot of time with him, has really had an impact on his view of hunting, his experience when hunting, and in the end, his desire to continue to hunt going forward.
I am so stoked.
I mean, college and the Marine Corps is really getting in the way of a good time.
Right, I've got class in like 4 hours.
They ended up leaving before we finished up, but they participated in the majority of the hunt, but then when it was time to go, they had to head out and we got to stay there and finish up and, you know, pick up all the decoys without their help.
The two main factors in this hunt that made this successful was, first of all, pressure management. We hadn't hunted that field in weeks and they'd been in there really heavy. So that is always going to be a recipe for success. Number two was the end gun corn. You're going to see it throughout the season, but the end gun corn on that hunt saved our butts because we were able to disappear and run the booby trap, which is still one of the best hides you can ever come around.
And 2.5 is the fact that the refuge behind us drops off of a hill. It's 100 feet below us, but not far away. So when we're shooting this direction, the birds are not hearing us and not being blown off of the roost. Awesome hunt, great time.
Goose hunts are the best.
I think the number one thing when it comes to dry field hunting, aside from making sure there's birds there, because whether you're hunting water or fields, there needs to be birds in the area. But in a dry field, I think one of the number one things that people either do really well or that bites them in the rear end is hiding.
I do agree. It's the make or break. I think hiding is the most important thing that you can do. Setting up in the right location is important as well, but I mean, there's a lot of times when we don't set up where the birds want to be, but as long as we can disappear, we're golden. If you can't disappear, you're not in the game.
You can be a world champion goose caller and the best ever at blowing a goose call, and if the birds can see you, you are not going to talk them into coming in and working the decoys.
No
way.
They won't do it. And what you'll see and what you'll learn about us is we spend a lot of time hunting on the edge, whether it's the end gun corn or it's a fence line or it's sagebrush, whatever it is. We spend a lot of time hiding on the edge because you can hide on the edge. And we know that as long as we can hide, we're in the game. And I don't care if they want to be in the middle of the field. I'll talk them into coming over here. At least a portion of them, enough to keep it going. And that's really what matters, is just keep the hunt going. But if they see you and they can see inside that blind, or you got a big shadow going somewhere that they don't like, whatever the case may be, you're wearing sunglasses in the blind and they can see that, whatever it is, if you can't hide, you're out of the game. You might as well pack up.
Yeah, completely agree. Most important aspect of the hunt, and again, for us, as much as we love shooting ducks over warm water and we look forward to doing that for the rest of our lives, our hearts are in the dry fields.
Yeah.
I do great today. We're goosing. And goosing is the best way to spend a day. Hands down, by far, the best.
And your birthday.
Oh yeah, and it's my birthday today.
Happy birthday, pal.
Pow pow, I am 42 years old. Goose hunting on the birthday morning. You literally couldn't draw it up any better. Glad my mom and dad made a November baby. Forever grateful for that.
This hunt today is on November 11th, which is my birthday. You know, in our year, I always kind of had this mental thing in my head that around my birthday is when it's really gonna turn on and get good.
Yeah, we're just getting into it. And every year on his birthday, we run the entire show. Every decoy that's in the trailer is getting put out.
I like big spreads.
Because that's the way he wants it. We're always arguing back and forth between.
Far left and far right are the two best spots in the blind.
Far left is the best spot. It's the #1 hole. That's why Brady always goes there. He needs all the help he can get.
Yeah, so every year on his birthday, we just roll out the whole show. We put the flappers out. We rolled out every single piece of gear we had in the trailer for that hunt.
If it was a plastic bird, it was out.
And on this hunt, we were running traffic. And in a traffic scenario, that can be really good because it puts a big footprint in the field.
Which for those watching, running traffic means we're hunting a field not necessarily right where the birds want to be, but we're directly in the line of flight from where they're going between either two feeding spots or from the roost to where they're feeding, and we're kind of cutting them off in the middle.
And you think about those birds and they're flying from a roost and they're, you know, in this case, they're a mile into their flight to the field they're going to. They're gonna be a little bit elevated off the ground. And so you gotta have a good imprint on the ground to really even catch their attention. And now you do that with calling, but decoys certainly help.
So we are now at this point already 40 plus days into the season, and the birds had never, ever been hunted in that field. So it was our first go in that field, and I think we kind of caught them by surprise.
Yes!
It's good to be good, but it's better to be lucky. And we got a little bit lucky that day in the conditions, and the birds cooperated and read the script, and it worked really well.
That was
That was epic.
So on this hunt, we have Bob Kaiser and Bobby Kaiser, who are the owners of the Kaiser Ranch. Obviously, they're from Detroit, Michigan. Great clients, great friends, great people. We also had Nick, who's a friend of the family, fairly new to waterfowl hunting, and he had been a couple of times, but it was really fun to have him out to Montana with us and kind of put on a pretty good show for Nick to see what good hunting is like.
Yeah.
birthday goosing 2023.
I don't care whether you shoot 1 or 100 on your birthday. It's a hell of a way to spend your birthday, in my opinion.
Yeah. Another really unique part about this hunt was this was my first hunt back from after Dax was born.
Mm-hmm.
Dax was born just like less than a week earlier.
And likely probably wouldn't have come on that hunt except it was my birthday. So he
I had to
came
go
out.
hunting.
Yeah, you gotta go. So he had a wife with a toddler and a brand spanking newborn, and came out. We hunted November 11th. Hunted that morning, spent the whole day together. It was a heck of a day.
Yeah, the big challenges this season were Dax being born.
I would call that a blessing, not a challenge.
Well, a challenge for the show, like that's real. Like, it was challenging for me to have a new baby, for
Yeah.
sure. Like blessing, no doubt.
Matt just took a month off in prime season, you know.
I didn't take a month off.
Decided to conceive a baby on Valentine's Day.
I went through season. Season 1 on the Kaiser Ranch was a massive success.
They're darn good. Hard to beat a Montana morning.
We got to know the people, we got to know the birds, we got to know the deer and the elk. We got to know everything that we needed to know year 1.
In hunting so many times, it doesn't work.
I was piss poor.
I mean, it's part of what makes it fun, because then when it does work, it's really cool. This was a year on that ranch specifically that it just really worked.
Okay, boys,
Get ready, boys.
they're coming.
Shoot them!
It was another case study for us in the ranch management side that those little tiny details that you think about in July make a huge difference when November, December rolls around and you're hunting these fields for the first time. And so we're going to continue to push, continue to experiment and learn, and continue to operate on more and more properties as we go ahead. You know, the Kaiser family has been just really open-minded and open to our ideas and suggestions, and it's led to a really fun partnership, and we're excited to continue for years to come.